I'm sure as having worked on it as his initial offering, his initial release for his label, Kevin probably also has some thoughts and feelings about the game and the music itself, right?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, when it came out in '97, I'm still fairly young now, and I was even younger back then. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And
whoa.
Yeah, my dad was like a huge gamer, and he had a SNES and a PlayStation. We never had any Sega consoles back then. So yeah, he played Oddworld a lot, and I was watching him playing it, and I tried it myself, but I never really understand how everything works. But I thought it looks like amazing. I love the characters and the humor and the CGI intro. So yeah, I played New and Tasty like 4 years ago when it came out in 2014, and I loved it. Like, I had all the emotions coming back from back then, and I mean the intro scene, the intro cutscene at the beginning is even better in the remake game than it was back then. And do you remember the cutscene at the beginning where Abe is talking about he got into all the trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he's cleaning his first job or something like that, and he sees the evil, nefarious plans. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then there's the song playing in the background. And that's the song that brings back all the emotions. So that's probably one of the only tracks that immediately brings back like everything. So when I played the game back then, I thought this would be really cool on vinyl. And I have to admit, I haven't even listened to the remastered soundtrack back then, but I love this track, and I thought that would be cool on vinyl. So I think in 2014, I was still in university, and I was there. I studied media law for a couple of years, but I stopped because I hated it. And,
that's the best time to figure that out, I'll just tell you.
Oh, yeah. And I was sitting in the lecture hall. I'm not sure if you call that lecture hall, but you probably know what I mean. And the professor was talking about media law stuff, and it was so boring. And I had this idea, and so I started writing an email to Oddworld saying, hey, I'm Kevin, and I played New and Tasty, and I loved it, and I love the soundtrack, and I want to put it out on vinyl. And in the same, like in an hour, I was still at university. I got a response saying, "Hey, we like the idea. Let's have a chat about that." I was like, oh, okay. I think I should start a record label now. And
wow.
Yeah, and the rest is history. Like this.
How about that?
This is how this happened, and it's crazy too. Like when I told my dad, "Hey, Dad, remember Oddworld? I'm going to work with a company who developed the game," and he was like, "You're joking. Why should you do that?" Like,
I mean, I have to tell you that story. It's hard to believe, but man, it's just so weird. It must be true.
Yeah, it is. And he was like, "Okay, that's pretty cool, but I'll wait until you show me the vinyl." And then, like a few months later, I showed him the vinyl. He was like, "God, that's amazing. Keep going. You can't quit university. Just do what you love. It looks like you're doing right."
Wow. I think that might be the first tale I've ever heard of somebody saying, it's okay. You can, give up on education. I think you've got the right thing.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, I feel like our younger listeners are probably sitting there like, yeah, of course I play video games with my parents all the time. But I feel like Jeremy and I's generation, like, that is a precious thing that your dad was introducing you to games like Oddworld is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Like, my father introduced me to Bad Dudes because the only video game he knew and enjoyed was Bad Dudes.
Son, in like New York in the mid-90s or whatever, son, this is what the real world is like out there.
I'm pretty sure that he only liked that game because of his love of Ronald Reagan and his fear of ninjas. That's it. It covered a lot of bases for him.
My dad also played a lot of Resident Evil, and he always wanted me to watch that with him. Not like wanted, but he said, "Hey, if you feel comfortable to watch Resident Evil, you can like sit next to me." And I was like, "No, probably not."
Aww.
I go watch some Disney Channel or whatever. Yeah. But that was one of the big memories, like the big things in my youth, like playing PlayStation with my dad. And he introduced me to a lot of characters and franchises that I still love now. So
how about that?
Sorry?
Well, way to go, Mr. Schulz. That's awesome. That's that is not a bad way to get started.
I have a pretty cool dad.
Nice. Well, I think that those are good beginnings. Good beginnings.